What do vegetables, tech, and life have in common? You have a choice!
Anyways, this is Real Talk, Fintech Trailblazers, brought to you by Mession in collaboration with Singapore Fintech Association.
Hi, welcome to the Real Talk Fintech Trailblazer series by Mession in collaboration with the Singapore Fintech Association, supported by the insurtech subcommittee. Here, we uncover the stories of visionary leaders, innovative entrepreneurs, and industry disruptors who are redefining the financial landscape. Joining me in this series from the Singapore Fintech Association insurtech subcommittee is my co-host Matthew Chu. Before we begin welcoming our guest, Matthew, can you share with our viewers out there what does the insurtech subcommittee in the Singapore Fintech Association do and what are the subcommittee goals?
So the goals of the subcommittee is to foster the development and the growth of the broad insurtech ecosystem in Singapore by working collaboratively with the various stakeholders in the industry in 4 key areas of focus. Number 1, engagement with the regulators. Number 2, engagement with the industry. Number 3, nurture the development of insurtech companies and the ecosystem. And number 4, talent development. So joining us here today is someone who is making corporate wellness less of a checkbox and more of a game changer. She is the co-founder and CEO of Choys, a platform that is transforming the workplace well-being by giving every employee access to benefits that actually suit their personal needs, from therapy to fitness to nutrition, sleep, and even mental support.
So at the heart of Choys is a powerful belief. When people feel their best, they will do their best. So under her leadership, Choys is fast becoming the go-to wellness partner for modern workplaces. So get ready with our conversation that blends purpose, product, and people. Welcome to our podcast, Sharon!
Hi, welcome.
So could you share with us, who are you? What company you're from?
Sure, of course. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Sharon. I'm co-founder and CEO of Choys. Choys is a digital chief well-being officer that taking care of the well-being of your employee. What does that mean is we are an insurtech company. From one end, we provide the group insurance for startup and SME, but at the same time, we have a gamified employee well-being and engagement platform that rewards, engage, and connects people together inside the organization.
So I'm curious, what you say that you gamified the whole employee's benefit? What do you mean?
So gamified, what does that mean is we basically have a gamification system, and we have this system called Choice Coin. So inside the gamified platform, what you can do is you can earn coins by taking healthy action. And those healthy action can be as simple as walking, drinking water, keep yourself hydrated, sending recognition for your colleagues, or doing very small action, meditating from a holistic perspective. And the way that you can spend this coin, you can redeem them through the gift card, but at the same time, you can also donate your coin to charitable donation, because a lot of our client found, it is very meaningful for them to work hard, work out, and be healthier and making a social impact. So that's basically what we are building and encouraging more and more people to join this initiative and be healthy together as an organization and as an individual.
So what are some of these activities that you mentioned? Like you mentioned walking?
Yes.
Walking also. So do you count steps?
Yes, step challenge. So we got an integration with Google Fit and Apple Health. And so all of your steps will be counted automatically.
Only steps or even like calorie count?
Calorie count. And we recently including workout as well,
workout
and
as well,
cycling.
okay.
So you can do different type of activity. And this is as a part of the feedback from our clients as well.
Only physical activities or like talking speaking to colleagues also count?
Yeah.
What else?
So the part that we covered already is the physical well-being part. So that's covered a lot. But at the same time, you got the social well-being. So
Okay.
social well-being is basically the culture under our organization. Let's say, Matthew, you did something great, and that's demonstrate the value of the organization of excellence, and I really appreciate that. So I can send you a recognition so that the whole organization understand, the impact that you have made for the organization. So we celebrate those mini habit building action together. The purpose of this is really just to make sure under the organization level, we encourage tiny action. Sometimes that's being overlooked, but meaningful for individual and organization.
So it's physical, it's social, what
Mental
else?
as
Even
well.
mental.
Yes.
Wow.
So what are some examples of mental activities?
Yeah, so mental activity, obviously meditating, right? Things like unplug. One habit that I built and have a tremendous impact in my work life is really just unplug before sleep. So there's no mobile phone in my bedroom. So I have continued this habit for a very long period of time. And I think this type of thing we encourage people to build as well. And obviously we got the mental counseling, coaching on the platform as well. So different organizations have different needs. Some of the organizations need mental health more than other type of services. So that's where we'll focus on. And from financial well-being perspective, obviously, the group insurance, that's where the group insurance coming in. That's a, very basic and fundamental part of the whole platform.
Okay.
So before this whole podcast started, I actually have a side chat with Sharon, right? And we were talking about, sometimes the staff, right, the HR staff will say finding some troubles to explain some of these things to the boss. So maybe let me ask you here then, right? Why should any company, right, embark onto your app?
Yeah, I think, especially with the world of technology, with AI, I think the definition of the workplace is evolving. And then, we got more expectation in terms of the people connection. And we want to get a sense of belonging from the workplace. From an organization perspective, there is a proven record. We are actually working with our client and basically asking them a simple question. Are the people on the top of your well-being leader board are the top performer in your organization? And we actually get the answer yes, which means the healthier you are, the more creative you are, and more productive you are as a person. And that compounding effect to the organization is massive. So there's many ways to improve the productivity. There's many ways to improve the performance. You can install monitoring. I will check on your screen what you're working on. How long you are working on. Yeah, but are we creating a workplace that everyone want to belong to? But at the same time, what is the quantifiable ROI on that approach?
Right.
So what we have seen in terms of the return is really in the past, when the recognition is all kind of simple message in here, like thank you. We help the organization to build a culture of appreciation. So you will understand, what is the top value against, 5 value in your organization, and who are the people driving this initiative at the moment. And at the same time, you will have a better understanding about your people and what are the area potentially we need to focus more. So that's where we use data to talk to the organization and basically helping them to have a personalized plan that evolve based on their organization journey.
So when you say personalized plan, because I was reading through your website and all right, I saw that it was personalized to even every single employee. It's different. How so?
Yeah, so what we have done is, we give a lot of option for different type of persona from employee perspective. Some people, even my own colleagues said, when I feel very stressed out, I'm not sit and going to meditate, my energy level is coming from the, workout.
Yes.
So then that is coming from the physical perspective. So they will get reward from the physical well-being perspective. Some colleagues, they prefer, meditating or having a session with a counselor, having, different type of way of improving their well-being. So we are here to give them a choice. So I think one of the fundamental from our company perspective is to giving the choice to employee, and they can do in their way that they prefer. So in that way, that is personalized. And at the same time, from the organization perspective, you got a overall aggregated plan, but at the individual level, you will have a visibility about well-being inside of yourself. So am I a social well-being, which I am. I'm a social well-being driven kind of person. Sometimes, my colleagues do a lot of activity, step challenge. That would motivate me as a person to do more.
Yeah.
A book club, I'm running that as well. So that's, those are the type of activity bring me joy and make me more creative and productive as a person. But different person got a different type of preference, and that's evolving as well over the years. So what we are doing in here is really providing that option to the employees.
Yeah, so there you go, right? To people out there, right, looking for a app, right, or a system process, right, that can actually help your employees, right, be more productive and happier, right? Something to actually consider. Oh man, I think a lot of people are looking into welfare, especially in the HR side, yeah. But I don't think they've seen something that's so robust that can meet every single personnel, right? There are different types and
or even
all.
game it, right?
Yeah, even
Make it into a
game it. That's
right?
quite interesting.
Yeah, in fact, when I see the platform, it's really very interactive and it's very appealing to the eyes. Like it's really like a game. You mentioned choice. I see that's the name of your company.
Yeah.
But that's not how you spell choice. So how do you come up with what's the story behind choice?
Yeah. So we spend a lot of time thinking about, what type of logo we want to have. You got like apple, either fruits, or you got like what are other? There are a coconut as a a brand. There's a lot of different type of way, or you call your company an animal. Then we were thinking like, what is the Asian vegetable that is very unique? Because choice is, born in Asia, in Singapore.
Yes.
So bok choy kind of rings
the bok choy vegetable. Right. Okay.
So the bok choy ring the bell, but at the same time, choice is just such a good kind of pronunciation similar to life choice. So because what we truly believe is life is a matter of choice. Whatever choice you made you. So everything, all the logic in our platform is really about that habit building. What choice are you making as a business, as a founder, as an individual for yourself today? And that will make a compounding effect in the future for your business, for yourself, for your life. Yeah.
I have to ask, how long do you take to come up with that name?
Not years, definitely. Probably a couple of days.
A couple of days. Yeah.
So eat your vegetables, guys.
Yeah, eat your vegetables. If you see the logo, it looks like a little Pokemon. I was just saying. Yeah. So I think it's a lot of creative applications are there from the logo itself. Oh, that's amazing. Interesting, right? Story behind choice.
So now let's go dive right deep into the story behind why do you even come up with such a company?
Yeah, no. So that's a very good question. So actually, before Choice, I spent probably more than 15 and 16 years in the UK. So I work in financial services back in London for more than 10 years. So my last employer was Barclays. So I working in there. I always want to have my own startup one day because I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My mom is a chemical engineer. She's an inventor, got her own patent. And my dad is basically a businessman. So watching him doing like business in a very Chinese style, all the baijiu drinking and watching my mom kind of like suffer cancer actually from her workplace because she was stealing the chemical. As a result of the workplace, suffer the workplace, negative impact on her well-being, right, on her health. So I really watch the extreme highlight and extreme low light of being an entrepreneur. But in my heart, I still want to be a founder myself one day. But it took me quite a long period of time actually to connect the dots backward. So I was working as an investment banker at the very beginning, and then moved to the data scientist area. Final 5 years, I was working in Barclays innovation team, so working with fintech and insurtech company on innovative solution day in and day out. Got a lot of inspiration from them, but I think the point that really the trigger point is really during pandemic. Colleagues around me, as a bigger organization, a lot of people suffer the employee, the well-being issue, and very close colleague working with me actually suffered the mental health issue. So that's really a starting point for me to start doing some research. And what I found is, in the US and in Europe, employee well-being or welfare is well developed. But in Asia, it is a steep growth curve. So I see there is a big opportunity, and it is something I'm genuinely passionate about, relatable from my own experience, and always want to go back to Asia one day. So long story short, quit my job. 2022, early 2022, we still have the Trace and Track in Singapore.
Trace together.
So came to here. You still need to spend 24 hours in the hotel. Basically, arrive on, I think it was Chinese New Year, if I remember it correct. So February time.
And then Chinese New Year. Wow.
Yes, but I mean, that's not planned. It's like coincidence. And then arrive Singapore and start my journey and join Antler program and met my co-founder.
Was that your first time in Singapore?
It wasn't my first time. I think before 2020, 5 years ago, I went to Singapore, but more from traveling perspective, and really love it. So at that point of time, I think plant a seed in my brain and in my heart as well to come back one day. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, the spirit of SG60. So why Singapore? Yeah.
Why Singapore? I think multiple reasons, right? Like the international part, the inclusiveness of this country is amazing. And I think the part I feel extremely beautiful is really from the language itself. We can talk to each other, mix with the Mandarin and mix with English so naturally, which means, at the cultural level, in the smallest unit, the most important part is already include that balance between East and West. And then it's become very natural. But I think that point basically being embedded in everything, in the ecosystem that I experienced. So when I moved from UK to here, the journey, a lot of dots being connected by my friends in the ecosystem in the UK to here. And then, once a few friends in here, people are being extremely helpful and open and just connect the dots. Oh, you are here, you are new. Oh, you need something, you are doing this. You know what? I know someone. So it's amazing ecosystem. And at the same time, I think it's have a very entrepreneurial culture in here as a country. It is small geographically, which means you got constraint in terms of resources. And that is part of the DNA in Singapore, that you need to be innovative to grow and to thrive. And that part, I think itself is very inspiring for me to join a country having that mindset. And by working with different part of the, organizations such as government, such as institution, associations. Ecosystem, I definitely experienced, the whole validation of my assumption of that the inclusive diversity and openness of the country. So I think, that's what inspired me, and that has been validated after 3 years being in this country.
Nice.
I'm very humble because I think as a Singaporean, I've never heard someone spoke so much about Singapore in that manner, right? And it's like there's this Chinese saying, 身在福中不知福. Yeah, okay, so to translate to our viewers out there, it's being 身在福中不知福.
When you're born in bliss.
When you're born in bliss, you didn't know
how fortunate you are.
Yeah. How fortunate you are, exactly. So I was like, oh wow, this is something that I think could take us a few steps back and really look into how wonderful Singapore really, really is.
I mean, as a Singaporean, when we hear this, a lot of times we just say that we just complain about many things.
Yeah.
But with someone from the outside environment, when they talk about this, we feel proud, right? We feel proud. At least we're doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And kudos to all the Singaporeans out there. Yeah. So back to you, Sharon, right? So share with us your journey in Singapore. Right? How did it started then in Singapore? So you say that you came from UK, you took the leap of faith, right? Which I want to touch on that later on, right? So and how did it start off in Singapore?
Yeah, so I guess a bit of backstory when I was thinking about this idea of a well-being platform and what I can bring onto the table. I have a few conversations with my friends in the UK, and they made an introduction to Antler, which is a local VC. So basically, I had a call with a few partners in Antler, and they have been extremely supportive. And so they basically give me the opportunity to give me the entry pass and come to Singapore.
Oh, wow.
So I started the Antler program in 2022, and through the program basically met with my co-founder Vanessa, who is also very passionate about well-being and at the organizational level as well. So then met with our CTO Abzo. So that's how we started. And obviously after that, there is a lot of test and learn, a lot of scars, a lot of mistake, a lot of learning. And even today, this month, last week, we were like, still kind of like a growing and then learning all the time. But the journey in here, I would say the first year is really just setting up the company, set up the foundation, and then start building the product, then bring more and more clients and grow the business together.
Yeah. So on that note, because I think many people, it's very tough for them to find co-founders with similar ideology and all, right? How do you find yours? Because you said you found Vanessa and your CTO as well. It sounds like very easy.
Were they introduced here and saying, or do you already know them from?
We didn't know each other. That Antler got this program where founders who are passionate about building the business can join together, and they got this program called bootcamp. So you can doing, let's say Matthew and I are both interested in sports, and then we want to set up a company about monitoring your health and physical exercise, things like that, and then we can join a bootcamp together. And basically we can learn from each other and see what we can bring onto the table, and whether there is a solid business case, and then we will get the feedback actually from the coach, which is extremely helpful for us to kind of build our thought process and bounce different type of idea and make sure it is a solid proposition at the very beginning, investable proposition at that point of time. So it's definitely there is a structure, but at the same time, there is a bit of luck as well. To me, I think what is the most important part is really the grit, the commitment, and I'm being inspired by my co-founders' grit and commitment every day after these 3 years. So
from founding the team to your first prototype, how long was it?
Our first prototype, it was probably a few weeks at the very beginning.
Uh-huh.
But even that, we don't know. Our app is completely changed from that
From
point
their
of-
first version.
Yeah, from the first version. But now, with all the AI, I think, any founder probably could do it by hours or minutes, right?
Yes.
So it's already kind of like slow at that point of time.
So I'm curious, when you got in Antler,
Yeah.
Is there a minimum requirement to these people or to the program? Is there a minimum program?
Yeah, so there
requirement?
is a program. There's an end-to-end program. I think around probably a couple of weeks, 9 weeks roughly, or 10 weeks roughly. There will be an interview process. So the call.
So you sign up for the course or sign up for the program?
Yeah, so for me, it's more being connected by my colleagues and then sign up for the program. But having the call with the partner, basically that's the interview process. So they will see, okay, are you passionate about this idea, or is there a founder market fit? Are you the right person to do this? So there is a bit of filtering process there.
Okay. And basically they take the idea and they matchmake your immediately, or you get to choose your partners?
No, it's very organic. They don't
Okay.
see you.
They don't
and
do like a speed dating, is it? No, like you said, okay.
Well, they do, but they do it not as in, okay, you got this idea and then I'll talk to him, not like in forced way. They actually provide a program, a
interact.
structure,
Okay.
as in you can sign up in here, and then sometimes there are set topic, sometimes you can pick your topic. So it is really free under that. You got a guardrail, and then but within that guardrail, you got a freedom in terms of who I want to work with, where I got chemistry, and then they set up a structure at the very beginning as well that you can talk to all the founder, make sure you introduce yourself. So for a very long period of time, at the very beginning, I was like doing maybe 1 week intensive scheduling. So I was like talking to everyone. What do you do? What you're passionate about? So it's basically mingle and trying to find
And
the
you interview
people.
every single person.
I didn't.
Is the class big?
I didn't. I definitely didn't interview every single person, but I think a lot of them. I meet a lot of the founder during that process.
And is the batch big?
Around
20?
90 people.
Wow,
at that
90.
point of-
I was
lot.
thinking 20. Oh, 90.
Yeah.
So is the bar of the talents who enter this program high? Like, do you need to have a stacked resume, or a fresh graduate will be able to do it?
I wouldn't. Well, this for the record, I'm sure now probably the standard change, and but not speaking on the behalf, but what of Antler. But my understanding
Yeah,
is
of your understanding, okay.
the most important part is whether you are the right person and do
The right
you have
fit, the
you are
passion.
the passion exactly
To be an entrepreneur.
Yes, to
okay.
set up a company, and is the idea, is your passionate area kind of match with largely your experience. But I would see it's more like a difference, people by people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Case by
understand.
case.
Interesting. So on that, back to the company itself. So how was it like getting your first client or first user?
How was it like getting our first client and first user? It wasn't easy. We were doing a lot of testing. We were doing a lot of user interview. And our first, I would say, corporate enterprise level user client at the very beginning actually have an extremely hard conversation with us. So it was like a setback or a challenges for us at the beginning. So a great business leader, and he's definitely our champion and our friend. And now, but at the very, very beginning, he was giving extremely tough feedback. The part when I was explaining about choice coin, he was like, how does that work? What does that mean? You are not explaining good enough to me about this, and you need to make sure you improve your capability of talking about this to us. And
Very harsh.
It is harsh.
Wow.
But,
Is it scary?
To be honest, I always see this feedback as the gold.
Okay.
Because this basically show the client who care.
Yeah.
Sometimes I really like the type of client I really like is like the angry client, because it can be you know they care.
Okay,
You
enough.
know they care enough, and this actually bothering them, and you know that they have expectation on you,
Okay.
and that's where basically stimulate me and feel like, oh, this is not right. This is actually something we can improve, and we basically spend a lot of time with him and with his team, and basically trying to understand, okay, how can I improve? How can I change the product? How can I make the product works for you? And then after a couple of months, he basically said, you know what, this makes sense. What you have been building over last few months actually is what we are looking for. Then he made that decision, and that's the first enterprise level
customer.
client
Okay.
that we corporate, I would say, financial services actually we sign with. So that journey was actually pretty meaningful for us, and for me, experienced a very steep learning curve as well.
So before they agreed to adopting your enterprise solution, what was the connection? They just gave you feedback, or you had a trial POC with them, a proof of concept with them?
So for this one, actually, there was a bit of trial, but not the formal with all the employee. We basically because this is one of the first client that we onboard, what we have done, a couple of meeting like at the very beginning, and harsh feedback, come back and basically say, look, we want to do better, and we want to do a better job with you because we see you care. Tell us what pain point can we solve? And there is like a lot of notebook and drawing session. And then we say, okay, we understand. Let us walk away and do this. And then we build a prototype. We play this with the HR. We play this with a couple of their team member as well. And then after that, there's basically kick off the contract process and then onboard their employee together onto the platform.
So I asked this question because as a fellow entrepreneur, I think there's a lot of risk, right? That you go to a potential customer and you build something for that singular customer.
Yeah.
So what made you say, let's do that for you, let's invest time? Because the customer might just walk away, right? Yeah. So why?
Yeah, so I think
Did they even pay for it to an extent?
they are our paid. They are actually our.
Now they are paid.
They are
No,
our,
previously, before that signing contract.
Before that, they have shown very high intention. This is this can remove their pain point.
Right.
But from what you ask, that perspective, I fully agree. There is a risk we need to take, and that is basically where we did a lot of analysis as well. Is this company, is this leader our right persona? Are we solving a problem? Do they care about employee well-being? Okay, they care. Do they care about impact? They care. They care about engagement? They care. Okay, all of this being validated. Okay, then what is the problem? Is our solution? Is there some gaps in our solution? So that's something they are our building partner helping us to refine that solution. So that's why we build it. But at the same time, I fully resonate what you have said in terms of being cautious around building. And I think that's one of the mistake, actually, I would say, if I reflect back, something we could do better is really around don't take listening to customer literally, as in, and this is what I am talking to my team all the time. What does listening to a customer mean? right? It's not about do whatever they say. It's about understand them better. So the example could be, if a customer come to me and say, I want alcohol, to show respect or be a good pleaser, I can give to you, okay, this is alcohol. But at the same time, I miss the opportunity to understand why the alcohol is needed. So
why they think alcohol?
Why you want alcohol?
Like bite you.
Just to understand the end objective.
Yes,
the mean
exactly.
Right.
So I miss the opportunity to say, okay, of course, but why do you think you need it? And that's the moment people open up to say, okay, actually, I'm experiencing a divorce and feeling a lot of stress. I have conflict with my colleagues, and that I'm just making an example, right? That's where you know the insight around that.
The intent behind.
Yeah, exactly. And then the solution to that problem potentially is not alcohol, it's something else. And then we miss the opportunity to basically hearing them and coming up that right solution. So I think something can be done better and something we are continuously improving. And even now it's deliberate practicing on is really around listening to the customer, but how? Listening to them to understand that real pain point, what is bothering them, then step back as a team to think about the best solution to that problem. And sometimes, you know what, they may got that good solution or that solution need a little bit tweak, but sometimes it's completely a different story, it's a different solution or it's a wrong solution. Yeah.
So on that, I think I've heard there's a lot of roadblocks that happens along the way, right? So I need to ask, which is the biggest roadblock you ever felt or the biggest setback that you ever had in this whole entrepreneurship journey?
That's a very good question. There's a lot. I'm trying to think about the biggest one that you mentioned. I think the biggest unexpected challenge, I remember someone say the best thing of being a founder is nobody tell you what to do.
Okay.
And the worst thing of being a founder is nobody
tells
tell
you
you
what to do.
tell you what to do. Right? Nobody tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Then you need to have a very clear idea around, okay, you need to define your own journey and you need to understand your own phase. And within that phase, what is the priority and what you need to focus on. And you cannot be too ahead of yourself, but at the same time, you cannot be too behind of yourself either. Having raising a little one, a human, right? At the moment, I see, it starts with milk and then moving to liquid, then it's solid. And then, there's always a schedule, right? But people can say a lot, this is the right stage, not the right stage. And then you just listen to it and you figure it out. But in different startup got different journey, base 44, biggest news last week, after 6 months, sold the business for 80 million and, 8 people inside the company, solo founder. That's one journey.
Yes.
Slack, Notion, they found PM9 after 4 or 5 years. And for a very long period of time, people may not believe and even themselves will struggle. So what is that journey? Which stage you are? I think that is really on our shoulder and based on our validation. So constantly asking about the prioritization, defining that stage, and to tell ourselves, okay, now we are not in the scaling stage yet, or now we are in the scaling stage, making that assessment, I think is quite important. And that's a bit of unexpected challenges.
Yeah, I mean, with that, have you ever doubted yourself then? Because I think you did mention it shouldn't be too ahead or too back. Have you ever doubted yourself on this whole journey?
I would say definitely. Like I would definitely lying to say, okay, I never doubt myself at all. But I think what is very important is not staying in that doubting zone. I think it is about healthy questioning yourself. Are we doing the right thing? One thing, I keep asking myself and repeatedly on a weekly basis is, are we doing the right thing? Am I spending my time wisely and on the company priority? Or is there anything that I can delegate? I can do this, do that. So I would say it's really around using that questioning and bring it into action and solving the problem actively, and not just staying in the doubting zone is something that I'm actively doing.
So the question I think I would like to ask is, I think most entrepreneurs will go through the doubt phase. How often do these doubts come up? I think that's the thing most people want to know. They think it's just once in a very long time. But how about you? Is it like every week? Is it daily?
I think it's you got a context. It's not like I wake up and then I doubt. Not happening in that sequence. It may happen in the sequence when we talk to a potential prospect, and then they give some comment, and then after that, I may sit with my co-founder, or we may have a call to each other and talk to each other. Are we missing something in here? Is that correct? Or sometimes setting up some intentional doubting time, healthy doubting time. Intentional doubting time is like, self-reflection. Self-reflection as in, I am spending this time to think about, okay, this week, am I helping my colleagues? Am I building a better culture? Am I being a good leader? Okay, what we are working on in terms of roadmap, is that still resonate with the market? Are we doing it in the right way? Should we do more using this technology, or like those type of conversation? But I wouldn't say it is like every day. It's sometimes, there's more in a week because of the conversation we have, because of the client feedback. Another week maybe coming through different kind of contexts.
Nice. Okay.
So to all the viewers out there, there you go. You need to have your own self-doubting time, right? But it's more of a reflection of yourself, so you can understand whether you're doing the right thing, right? So back to you, Sharon, right? I'm curious because in women in fintech, right, it's actually wrong. Even women in entrepreneurship, right, it's tough. Right? Or rather, what most of us know
tech is
of.
also a male-dominated space.
Exactly,
right?
right? How is it like for you?
I think it is an amazing experience and a bit of crazy experience. Most of people knew me as a female founder, but a kind of secret fact is that actually I give birth to Choys and a human at almost exactly the same time.
Same time.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So that have been a real journey for me, and I see a lot of similarity between
Raising a child,
raising a human. When I give the example of the feeding
milk,
part,
but
at the same time seeing a lot of difference. I definitely see there is a lot of different type of challenges going through this journey. But what helped me the most is really having a very strong supporting system, and no matter from work perspective, from life perspective, and I'm really glad that I didn't, because that we already have you already pull the trigger to start a business, that then a baby. So to balance these two and not thinking too much, but really just work on it, absorb, and trying to handle it at the beginning without too much self-judgment, like self-doubt. I think the self-doubt part probably being reduced because you don't have time.
Yeah.
To do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
You got no time.
I think I may have more time to self-doubting myself. Am I a good mom if I don't have choice? And then I may self-doubt more of, am I a good founder without a baby?
Baby,
So
yes.
then, spend more time just solving the problem. And what is the problem? How can we solve it? The conversation become more kind of actionable, but at the same time, without removing what I said or in terms of self-reflection.
I mean, that's very interesting. I have a lot more questions on that aspect, right? But I also understand that you are also in the women's committee in SFA.
Yeah.
Does that help as well?
No, I think, I'm a true believer of ecosystem. And I think my whole journey so far from the UK to Singapore, even before moving to Singapore, we're already kind of working with quite a lot from innovation perspective with Singapore Enterprise and EDB, and with university as well. And then now being part of the Singapore ecosystem, I personally got tremendous benefit and see tremendous value from the ecosystem perspective, and definitely Singapore Fintech Association play an instrumental role from that perspective. And I'm super pleased to be part of the Women in Fintech subcommittee. We got a lot of exciting initiative coming up, and I think that is really around, giving female operator, female leader, female investor, female board member opportunity to collaborate with each other and to share their knowledge and really have no bullshit, no unfiltered conversation to support each other. So I think that's extremely valuable. And something I really want to say is, what I really believe is obviously, there's a lot of activity, and you can see in social media or Singapore Fintech Festival, you can see there's a lot of things going on. That's probably 10% what you see. But there are a lot of things happening. The real support is like 90% you don't see on the stage.
Right.
But the 90% you don't see are more amazing than what you are seeing already on the stage. And those are the help when you have scars, when you have struggle, and you're asking people, what did you do that? Do you feel in the same way, by the way? And a lot of conversation happening in that space. So I'm super excited and super keen to see, more and more female operator, leader joining us and contribute to the initiative as well in the fintech space.
Yeah, so to ladies out there, right, please don't stop yourself, don't doubt yourself, right? Join the greats like Sharon, right? And you never know what you could actually achieve. Actually, I'm just curious. Both of you guys are from SFA, right? Actually, I'm never asked this question to all my previous guests. How do you join?
Yeah, how did you join?
How do you join?
How did you come across the SFA as an association, and how did you sign up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when I was telling the ladies to sign up, I realized that we have no proper understanding of how to sign up.
Okay, I heard it from the top runner of Fintech Nation. So for those people who know Fintech Nation, Varun, Tawishi, Vanessa have been instrumental to our journey, and they are the people who pick up your phone during the weekend, Friday night, when you are struggle, they are here, they are solving that problem. And they are the people at a personal level, I'm super grateful. And at the professional level, at the business level, I genuinely trust. And then when they say,
go sign up,
I'm like, yes, done.
Okay. Okay. So it's a recommendation in a referral.
It's an ecosystem, I would say. And I think that's, since then, I never regret. And since then, it's just a more connection and we connect. And, Julian, a lot of other people amazing through this association.
Very interesting. Yeah. So now you know, right? How can you join? I think you can search the website and probably there's a sign up link somewhere, right?
Yep.
So back to you, Sharon. Just now you were mentioning, you were struggling, or rather, you were actually asking yourself, right? If I have a baby, what about choice? If I have a choice, what about baby? Right? How do you get out of that phase?
I actually didn't have self-doubt around this, like whether choice or baby. And I see it as a very good thing that, because if I have doubt, I have another path to balance it out. So it will reduce my doubt and stress in a way. But that's I guess it's really just how I operate. And I see a beneficial side of that.
Is there any advice there from you? Because I think many of the ladies out there, when it comes to family planning, there's a guilt, right?
They call it mom's guilt.
Yeah, mom's guilt and things
they
like
don't
that.
spend enough time with the kid.
Yeah, which what you mentioned just now, right? Any advice on this aspect?
Oh, I'm a learner of this. So from Choice perspective, we actually run a lot of different type of events and initiatives. So one of the things is around founder well-being. And
Founder well-being.
Yeah, founder well-being. And then this year in early March, we actually run a female well-being session. And what I have learned in there is that a lot of female founders actually have different way of improve their own well-being and to not feel in certain way and feel empowered. One thing is really kind of feel free to merge two worlds, be brave enough to merge two worlds. So one of the founder, amazing female founder, by the way, big shout out, our client as well, Tracy from Fluid. Her suggestion is basically bring your kid more to your workplace.
Okay.
Yeah, so let them clean the floor, let them do things. And then she
participate in the
say,
journey.
yes. And she said, I even bring my child to a client meeting and my children talking to the client and just joking and say, oh, you guys working with this client. And then, mommy working with this client. Then actually helping her to close the deal in a way. So I think it's really around how to make what you have already works is quite important. And how do you extend that time being with your children? This is something I constantly learning. And then, I do set up my rule as well. Where is the time I need to spend? It's a family time, and what is the time that we need to, focus on the business? And I make sure two sides fully understand. This is how we're gonna operate. How it's gonna work.
Yeah,
nice.
And with that, let's come to our next segment. Hi, welcome back to the Enzo segment. Right, this is where we will actually use the card that Mession developed. What happened was that over the years, right, when we talk about to the young ones, we realized that they do not know how to engage mentors like Sharon, right, and find out more about their lives and their story. So with Enzo today, right, we actually understand a little bit more, right, about Sharon. So Sharon, right, over here, right, I have a few acts, but today we will use act 2, right, and I'm gonna put up the cards in front of you, face down, so that you don't see the questions, and we'll choose that, okay? All right. So there you go.
We have a dealer to listen.
All right, so these are all randomly placed in front of you. So Sharon, choose the two cards that you like too. The first two in front of you?
Yes, very nicely designed.
All right, thank you very much. Right, so why don't you pick out the first card, right, and tell us what's the question?
Can you share a piece of advice from your mentor that significantly impact your journey? Actually, that's a very good question. It's tremendously impact my journey because actually my mentor in Barclays was the one suggest me to have my own business.
Wow, your Barclays boss or mentor. asked you to leave Barclays. Not a direct boss.
Not my direct boss, but my direct boss kind of like know me very well. He's an amazing mentor to me as well. But one of my mentor, she was the person basically saying, well, you can I'm sure you will have a successful career in here, having a great next step as well. But I feel it is a right time, and I genuinely feel you are the type of person who will set up amazing company as a founder. Wow. So it's worth for you to try. And I think the most amazing point about the mentorship is a lot of organizations, some of the organizations worry, people are leaving, but I see a lot of clients that we are working with, the best leader, the best people are the people who are genuinely willing for their people to go to the next stage of their career. And I am super grateful of this mentor. And I a lot of time we don't even, talk. I don't know if she knows she's my mentor. I would call her as a mentor. I don't necessarily to sit together with the people I ask questions with, always say, oh, do you want to be my mentor? It's like it's
not official.
It's not like
yes. It's
but
like
most time it don't need to be official, right? As long as he or she is willing to have coffee with you and answer your questions, guide you along. I think that constitutes as a mentor.
Yes, 100%. So I see her as my mentor, and she gave me a lot of great advice. And she's one of the person basically being completely blunt, completely honest with me and saying, have you considered about this? And seriously, I think this is your path. You potentially would love to try. And obviously, whether to make that decision is your decision. So I think she has been one of the driving forces for me to connect those dots backward a bit quicker, because I said at the very beginning, it took me longer than I expected to really find that entrepreneurial journey in the end. So that's definitely a great advice from her.
Right.
Did you ever ask what did she see in you for her to give you that advice?
I think when I work with her and chat with her a lot, I share a lot of my thought, how I would do things differently. And, a lot of like a creativity part. And I think probably that's something that she see quite unique and would be a shame if I never try it. And I think, that's some advice I give to myself as well. The biggest failure is not trying. So as long as you try and you're doing it, no regret, I think that's one of the most important things to do for life.
Okay.
I actually wanted to follow on that question, but I'm not going to ask anything first. I'm going to let Enzo do the work first. What about your second question?
Okay. Who were the allies that supported you along the way, and how did they help? Allies that supported you along the way. I think I have a lot of allies supported me along the way. I would share one back in the UK, one in Singapore. During COVID period of time, actually my mom passed away. And that period of time, so that was 2 years before I came to Singapore. And I think that 2 years have a fundamental impact to my life. And obviously the mentor conversation was part of that 2 years as well. And I think different people have different grieving way of a grieving process. Yep. And for me, what I identified about myself is the workplace is really healing for me.
Okay.
And that really tells me, the people I was surrounded with at that point of time in Barclays Innovation, it was a great group of people, and I'm so lucky to have them as someone I call as friends, and we are still friends until today. And that period of time, people checking in me and people give me a lot of support. They say, okay, you don't have to like working intensively. You do what works for you. And I do have friends having coffee with me and very openly sharing their grieving journey and how do they handle different things. So that's basically that process give me a lot of kind of self-insight in terms of reflection and connecting the dots that I have go through in my life. But meanwhile, really appreciate these allies, these people that I have around me to give me that support and, sometimes stupid joke and cheer me up. So I think those moments were really instrumental. And I definitely think it wasn't one decision for me to move from the UK 10 years in a corporate to a startup founder in one day. That is a kind of iteration of mental process, and this process including a lot of people that kind of supporting me.
Yes.
So that's the one in the UK. In Singapore, really our clients, our champion, they have been amazing allies. We have clients giving us different type of suggestion. They truly believe what we are doing, and they know it is it is not easy. What we are doing today, insurers try in the past. So our allies are the people who are working in the insurance company. They are the innovative people. Yes. They connect the dots. They translate what we are trying to say. And they are the people who are our client, who are purchase our solution. They give us suggestions to say, okay, maybe you talk to this client, you sell them in this way. And they give us a lot of even like a sales, advice. Suggestion, okay. Advice or product advice, different type of advice. So those conversation and HR who are using our solution, they are really, really, the suggestion and support that they give to us is extremely meaningful. And I think that's a driving force for us as well to not give up and to really giving us that feel in the roots to say, okay, keep this going. Right. This is the why. This is a core. This is a validation we have seen from those conversations that keep us going.
Right. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Right, that is how powerful Enzo card is. Right, simple question, deep insight. So welcome back. Right. So Sharon, we have heard so much about all your stories and all. Now I want to bring you back to the past. Right. If I bring you back to when you are 18, when you are 20 years old, right, would you have done anything differently?
Bring me back to 18 self. Wow.
18 or 20, whichever.
Were you already in UK?
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
I was at the beginning of my journey.
To study or work?
To study.
Okay.
Yeah. What I would do differently. I think sometimes, we have that culture of grinding and kind of like suffering and seeing that as a good quality, which is good in a way, to give you a lot of grit to continue and persistency. But sometimes don't need to kind of hold it just because of other people's expectation or some imaginable social expectation. What I found is sometimes the easy way for you is the right way, as in the people that I'm surrounding with are the people I don't spend a lot of time to please them, to persuade them. That, it's a natural kind of click, natural chemistry between each other. Yeah. And the job that I'm thriving are the people not I need to making effort to make sure they believe me. Yeah. So sometimes you just need to be yourself and try different things, and you will find your tribe. You will find what you're really good at. So I would like to tell 20 or 18 self, don't being too harsh on yourself, and don't just trying to suffer or grind for the grind's sake. Sometimes the easy way is the right way.
That's very interesting. The easy way is the right way. Yeah. So now that I brought you back to the past, right? I'm also very curious because I think you did mention that, sometimes the easy way, the best way is to let it go naturally and all. But there are many people out there that they have very fantastic ideas when they're young, right? Or some of them are not even young, maybe 30 plus, 40 plus, but they fear to take the very first step. Right. And for you to take the very first step to fly all the way from UK to Singapore to set up a whole company, right? What sort of advice will you give them for them to take the very, very first step?
Yeah, I think to take that first step is not like a kind of force yourself to take that step immediately. I think it's really around stepping back and identify the fear. What is driving that fear? And then you take this as a opportunity to understand yourself better. And that insight will bring you to a long way more than just a business idea. What I would suggest is really find your tribe, talk to people who have gone through that journey, but at the same time, spend some time with yourself, really write down what drives your fear first to understand what is below the surface for yourself, and to see if that's the type of risk you can take calculated step, calculated risk to make that step. And the more important thing is, I really like what Adam Grant said, confidence is a byproduct of your action. So what does that mean is like while you're taking the action, your confidence will be growing. So it's not like you need to wait until your confidence level going to 100%, then you make the next move. So it's really just that when you jump into the swimming pool, while you're jumping into it, your confidence start growing. And when you start swimming, start making the movement, you get the confidence.
Yes.
So that is quite important. But I think the final, a bit of like a dumb suggestion is this is in your DNA. You already make your first step as a baby ages ago to stand up before you even understand what is fear. So we don't have that good memory around, okay, how painful it is, how fearful that means to you. So, sometimes you just got to do it and then believe that is already in your DNA, which it is, to take that first step. Because I think, I see my son kind of crying a lot. And then when he's going through that journey, but he doesn't even know what does fear, confidence means. But you don't need to know. You don't need to remember. You already go through that ages ago. And it's always in your body already. And I think the most inspiring people are around us. And that is basically inheriting all the confidence for you already to make that first steps.
So I'd like to add on to that. There's a saying in the movie that says, I think it was a movie by Will Smith. He says that danger and fear are two very different things. One is very real. Danger is very real, right? But fear is a mental construct. There's a lot of things that we imagine it to be, but it's not necessarily true. It doesn't pose any real dangers to you, right? And I think that's essentially what she's saying,
Yes.
To have the confidence to overcome the mental constructs, right, that you build for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think as we continue to inspire the young ones, right? You've been through the corporate pathway, right? And then now you're on the entrepreneur pathway. So you've been through both pathways, right? I'm curious, right? What is one attribute you think that is actually important, right, for someone to actually reach success?
I think So there is an expression, abbreviation called SME, which means subject matter expert.
Yes.
So I learned this word when I was working in a corporate. I think the most important quality that have been underrated and we really need to spend a lot of time on is we spend time on being a subject matter expert of AI, of technology, of business, but we forgot to be the subject matter of ourselves. And I think being the subject matter of yourself, really understand yourself, own your story, know your storyline is one of the most important things, no matter you are working in the corporate world or you're working as an entrepreneur.
Right.
And especially when you are become an entrepreneur, your business, your story, everything linked together. And, you don't want your investor to tell a story about you. You should own that story. But meanwhile, if you are working in a corporate, you need to assess yourself as well. What is your strengths? What you are really good at? What role are you playing in that inside the organization? And I think spending more time internally is as important as spending the time on, the external, the new things that coming up, a new trend, a new process, a new technology that are surrounding to ourselves.
Yeah, so I think to all our viewers out there, I think this is one segment you might want to rewind, right? And you watch it a few times because I think what she said is very, very deep and it's so true because I think most of the time we want to be ahead of ourselves and we start to neglect what really truly important, which is ourselves. Yeah. So now that I brought you back to the past, right? I want to know the future. What's the future for your company?
I really want to see how we impact the future of insurance, future of insurtech, the future of workplace. I think we are in a very interesting space that, with AI evolving, with all the technology iteration, the expectation to the workplace have been completely changed. So I really want to reduce the barrier in terms of employee well-being for the startup and SME to make sure that it's not a luxury for them to have, but something very fundamental for their business. I'm very happy that we already supported a lot of our clients to make well-being accessible for their people at the very beginning of their startup journey as well, similar to ourselves. But I want to make sure we 10x ourselves and make sure that impact is big. But at the same time, I think when I see the future, I want to make sure we can drive an industry movement as well, right. To improve the diversity in the insurance industry. And then, we are working with a lot of insurers, a lot of industry leaders, and I really enjoy that. And I want to make sure a lot of fintech and startup and in the industry see the movement and can join us, work together, join the whole ecosystem as well. So I think this is how I see the future. Yeah.
So if there's one word that you could give to aspiring young entrepreneurs out there, what do you think that would be?
By the way, this is one question that we ask all our guests here.
One word. Mm-hmm. And I would take Talison's advice to me when we start this podcast. Okay. He say, I will give you one advice and I will tell you it's enjoy the conversation. So I would say one word or a short phrase would be enjoy the journey. It's quite important and make sure you are in the present. You really fully absorb yourself in the presence, and that is the most important moment for you. So enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey.
I was about to bet with you that the word will be choice.
I was thinking of that too, but yeah, let's enjoy the journey. Yeah.
Okay.
So before we end our whole podcast here, right, the whole show, maybe I'll put your attention to this camera here, right? Is there any last piece of advice, any parting words that you'd like to give our audience out there?
I think with the evolvement of technology, it is quite important for us to going back to the beginning, going back to the root, which is how to be a human and how do we collaborate with each other, what type of environment we want to build for each other. And I think there is a lot of meaningful discussion that we can have from the business perspective, from building a startup perspective to make that conversation meaningful. But I think really, I would love to have a lot of conversation around, how to build a sense of belonging in the workplace and how can we work together with each other.
Thank you very much, Sharon.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on this inspiring episode with the powerhouse behind Choys, Sharon Li. So, from personalizing wellness to purpose-driven leadership, she has shown us that taking care of people isn't just good business. It is the future.
If you are dreaming of building something meaningful, remember, when people feel their best, they do their best. Stay bold, stay curious, and stick to your choice.
Hi guys, thank you for listening. If you like what you have just heard, follow us for more content like this.